Spike.
Chris.
Spike and Chris show. Welcome aboard. DC FANDOME. Dome. Yeah.
Fandom.
So that was the thing. Okay, so we covered that. Let's talk about something else. Alright, go ahead and talk about what you're going to talk about.
Well, it was an exciting Saturday with DC FANDOME. You can still watch it right now. It's going like until sometime tonight on Sunday.
Yeah, we're recording this on, by the way, on Sunday, August 23rd, 2020. Not like I'm going to get this up before this thing is over, but hey, you go right ahead and tell them to go ahead and watch it.
Well, I mean,
you'll be able to catch it online.
Just go on YouTube. It's all there. But anyway, yeah, there was a lot of great stuff coming out of DC. To me, he seems to me, but anyways.
But I crap on everything.
That is true. He does crap on a lot of stuff. It's very unsanitary. But anyway, yes. So I got some notes.
Yes.
All right. So basically, first off, apparently the Flash movie is definitely going ahead of the whole thing, and the Flash multiverse will be part of the big story because we already know that Michael Keaton will be coming back as his Batman, but apparently Ben Affleck is also coming back as Batman in this Flash movie.
Of course, because there have been multiple Batman over the years, and each one has to have their own dimension, because God forbid they should be treated as actors portraying the same character. Anyway.
I know, right? So that's a good thing that Ben Affleck is definitely going to be doing his whole thing, and he might be coming back more as Batman because they really like him as Batman. Plus, not to mention the Matt Reeves Batman is actually not supposed to be part of the MCU at all. So there's that.
Yeah, there's that.
Which also, we had Ezra Miller, who plays the Flash, was on there.
Flash!
Talking about playing the Flash, and can't wait for people to see the new movie. So that also takes care of the big rumors if DC or Warner Brothers fired him from the choking incident. Remember that?
Flash. No, I don't remember. No, I remember that. Please don't go into it.
Anyway,
please don't.
So,
Please don't. Go ahead.
So nobody has heard from him, and now all of a sudden he's definitely going to be as the Flash. So,
and pretty much everybody's forgotten it. Just like somebody called. Anyway, look, guys, short attention spans, it's why Quibi exists. We'll get into Quibi here. Short attention spans, why Quibi exists. All he had to do was disappear for what did it take? A month? We're down to a month now, and then the whole choking thing happened about a month ago.
Yeah, 4th of July.
About 4th of July, yeah, about a month and a half. So we're down to about 4 to 6 weeks, okay? In other words, if you choke a bitch out, then all you got to do is just order something off of television. It takes 4 to 6 weeks to arrive. When it arrives, hey, now you can go out and start promoting your stuff again, right? Go watch TBS and order some Dignity. In 4 to 6 weeks, your Dignity will show up. And then all of America will forget you choked a bitch, okay? So, there you go.
Okay, well.
Welcome to Realism Theater, boys and girls.
One of the big things about the DC FANDOME is that Jim Lee was in pretty much every single
He's the only one left.
thing. And, man, I'm so glad that they left him in charge because Jim Lee is really fantastic. I mean...
He is the only one left. And the entire executive leadership, Jim Lee is the only one pretty much who survived that one.
Yeah, he was in every single one of them, but he definitely came on there and made sure that everybody knows that when it comes to comic books and how the DC is going to be handling the TV shows and the movies and stuff, that next year is going to be big, and even though that they're going through a lot of changes, it's going to be all good.
This is the time you shake off your driftwood. And a lot of corporations are doing this right now. They're shaking off the dead wood, all the excess weight, the people they don't need. are going out, are being jettisoned out the nearest space lock, and then come out leaner. Because to be honest, why would you bother releasing? Why would you? You wouldn't really release anything here unless it's already in the can and it's waiting to be shot out, which is what 10th Frame is doing right now. They have, oh my god, I keep wanting to call it Unforgiven. It's not Unforgiven.
Unhinged.
Unhinged, which is the road rage movie with what's-his-face?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
Road Rage, Russell Crowe.
And whatever the other film was.
Hold on, let's talk about how it's the #1 movie.
It's the #1 movie in theaters today because it's only one of two movies in the.
There's
a second one in.
Yeah,
although
it's
a re-release.
Written on the Walls or something like that.
That's a re-release, isn't it?
No, it did just come out. But honestly, I got to admit, from the trailer, it does look interesting because it deals with a guy who has anxiety and stuff like that, mental issues. So he envisions all this stuff that is going around him, even though it's not actually happening. So it's like he'll be fighting a monster, but even though there's nothing really there, and stuff like that. So it's.
What was that movie where he had to keep writing stuff on himself so he wouldn't forget?
Memento?
Yeah. So it's like Memento, but on its ass, right?
I don't even know. Nobody knows what Memento is. There's people still today trying to figure out what the heck that movie is.
The beloved wife is about 1 or 2 rooms away trying to figure out why I'm cackling like a witch at Halloween. But anyway.
He's had his cat, yeah.
I've had my caffeine. And then the New Mutants release Friday, the August 28th. So the New Mutants are going to be I guess Disney's first sacrificial lamb. This is coming through Fox. Disney.
Let's just face it. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about New Mutants.
Hold it.
Okay.
I have 0 F's to give about the New Mutants. Of course, I have 0 F's to give about any X-Men. Okay, I stopped paying attention to X-Men when Jim Lee did his first issue back of X-Men #1 back in 1990. I gave up on X-Men, X-Factor, and Classic X-Men. That's when I gave it up. I take that back. I did read Classic X-Men because that was the one that came after X-Men #1 done by Jim Lee, and that was the one that reprinted the older X-Men episodes, but it was in a format that you could actually afford at the time. But anyway, with brand new covers by Jim Lee, which I tore off and wiped my ass with. But anyway, I digress. New Mutants is going to be telling to see what happens when the fans react to it. New Mutants is the one that all the hardcore X fans are either crapping on or they're waiting for. It's kind of split. It's not down the middle. It's mostly people want to crap on it because it's just been in developmental hell for so many years. But if New Mutants can manage to score any kind of a take next weekend,
well, if
then it's going to exceed. I mean, who's going to stop it? Not Unforgiven. It's not Unforgiven.
The
it's
thing
Unhinged.
is that it is going to take, because I mean, come on, Unhinged does not look like it's going to be the best movie ever. It looks like it would. If it was released with some other movies, this would have been the movie that would have been just like lasted a month and then go straight to DVD because it sucked so badly. But due to the fact that with this pandemic, and it is the only new movie that has pretty much that has came out, yeah, it's making money. That's why it's the #1 movie. So next week when New Mutants comes out, of course this is going to make some money. But bottom line,
bottom line, go ahead.
Bottom line is that I got a feeling this movie is not going to be as perfect as what the company actually was hoping for, because
no, it's not going to be anywhere close.
Oh no, because I mean, yeah, it had some major issues. It is cursed, but the fact is that you watch the trailer and you're just like, you're not interested. Nothing wows you. Nothing about this movie wows you.
I'm going to say this: New Mutants is giving me the same vibe Suicide Squad did. The first Suicide Squad with Harley Quinn, the first movie, Kind of gave me that vibe. I actually liked it more than most people did. I actually liked it because they did piss all over the Joker. But that's that. Any reason to piss on Jared Leto is a good reason. But the second Suicide Squad, the James Gunn Suicide Squad, that you're going to talk about here from DC FANDOME, is striking me as being something that's more of a party film. This is going to be like the Guardians of the Galaxy style, but writ large, where all of a sudden they've got Warner Brothers budget, not Marvel budget, which is still like down here. But so New Mutants is one of those that's going to crap the bed on the first release, and then if somebody actually does it right, which God, I'm not even going to say it can be done right. You're talking about a character. Remember, Cypher is a member of the New Mutants. Have you ever heard of Cypher?
Yes.
You know, and what's his power, Chris?
Honestly, I don't care.
He can speak or read any language. That's his mutant power. Okay. He was the first of the New Mutants to die. Okay. So
surprise.
That first one's going to suck. The second one, if you can get somebody who knows what they're doing, and once the stench is taken off the franchise, a second chance might just work. Whether it's going to get that second chance, I don't know. But anyway, speaking of the Suicide Squad, I know I'm knocking you out of order from your little...
Oh yeah, you are knocking me out, because that's not what I had next on my list. But yeah, okay.
Let's talk about the Suicide Squad.
Yes, so James Gunn released not a trailer, but behind-the-scenes look at his version or his vision that will definitely be something that I think people are actually going to love, especially if you're a comic book nerd, because apparently James Gunn is a huge comic book nerd, and he's bringing every hero that nobody really talks about from the grave and slapping them in with Harley Quinn and Deadshot and Boomerang guy and all
Captain
that.
Boomerang.
Captain Boomerang. So, like, you got everybody in this. And Polka Dot Man.
See, now, this is what I was talking about with the original Suicide Squad movie. The first one, yeah, you pissed all over Jared Leto. But hey, and that's a good time to be had by all, but it didn't go over well, and it went over like a lead turd in the theaters. This time you got James Gunn. James Gunn has the concept of the Suicide Squad. He understands the idea of bad guys doing good things for the government was an 80s development. There was a Suicide Squad before that had nothing to do with that format.
Yes.
They were the ones who basically, they were like the Dirty Dozen. They were the ones who were expected to go out, perform some really nasty job, and if they made it, fine. Kind of like Mission Impossible, but in comic books. When the Suicide Squad rebooted, the idea was you had certain core characters. You had Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, and at the time, Enchantress, who is another DC character who is way overpowered to be in the Suicide Squad, but they didn't think about it at the time. But you also had Amanda Waller, the black chick who's in charge. Yeah, I said black chick, get over it. And Colonel Rick Flag, who was the army guy who was basically the only holdover from the original Suicide Squad. Okay, I think he was actually the son of the guy in charge of the original Suicide Squad. But the idea was you take these goofy old DC characters so that you could show somebody dying on the comic book page, and that's where Polka Dot Man gets used. It's where the Fiddler gets used. It's where the Thinker gets used. It's where all these goofball, the Rainbow Raider and all these other goofball old villains get put in there, and they get knocked off because you wanted to show somebody die on screen. You can't use any of the good characters, so take some of your crappy old characters and throw them in there. So we've got, who have we got in the Suicide Squad?
Oh,
I'm going to have to make fun of them like I did the Batman. People who refer to him as the Batman.
If you knew...
Well, I know we've got Polka Dot Man. You mentioned that.
There's the Thinker. There's Weasel. There's
You've got Peacekeeper in there. That's John Cena.
yeah.
So he'll most likely make it to the end of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Of course, you have Harley Quinn. You have King Shark. You have
Bloodshot's somebody else. You're thinking Deadshot.
Deadshot.
Will Smith's character, yeah.
Which is now played by Idris Elba.
Yeah. Which actually is a much better fit. Although I still wish he would have gotten the James Bond role. But anyway. And shoot, just think of Captain Boomerang.
I should have
King
wrote
Shark,
down.
and
I should have wrote down because there's actually a list.
there's
that you
about
can
a
actually
dozen
look
of these
up.
guys because they're all cannon fodder for the most part, except for the core characters from the last movie.
But it looks really fantastic. There's a rumor that they're going up against it could be Starfish Face or something like that. What's
Starro.
Star? Is that what they're going? I don't know.
Big
Something like
starfish with a single eye.
Yeah.
That's Starro.
Well, there's
Starro the
rumors that
Conqueror.
that's who they're going up against.
Starro is a collective intelligence, and he makes these little starfish, and if he manages to get one on your face, he takes over. You lose all your will and everything. You just become a puppet for him. So he's able to fight bad guys. He's able to fight people by using other people, and he likes to go after people with powers.
Oh, well.
So if he can throw a fish in Superman's face, now you're going to have to fight Superman.
So.
Yeah. So.
But I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Again, James Gunn. If you love Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2, that was James Gunn. Okay. And he really loves this stuff. So
is he working on 3?
I don't know if he's
I think
still
he was
working
supposed
on
to
3.
finish
He
this
was
and then
kicked
come back
off
to 3,
because
yeah.
he was kicked off of 3 because of a tweet, and
Yeah.
then all
and then
the
he has
cast
to wait
is
4
like.
Then he has to wait 4 to 6 weeks, and then he can come back and do 3.
So
Which is the only way Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is going to be any good, is if James Gunn comes back.
I mean, I'm hoping so. We'll see on that. And then, of course, speaking of Suicide Squad, the game trailer for Suicide Squad versus Justice League.
Kills the Justice
League.
The video game trailer, yes. That was... Now, Chris and I were talking about this beforehand. Out of all... I have seen all the trailers, and yes, I watched the Suicide Squad trailer, as you asked, and yes, I was a lot more impressed than I thought I would be with it. So, I did see the Batman, and it was... We'll talk about the Batman in a minute. The video game trailers, there's 2 of them, okay? That I can remember. There may be more, but I remember 2. 2 stood out. There was Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. If you get a chance to watch it, because that should give you a really close idea of what the Suicide Squad movie is going to be like.
Yeah, I got a feeling
because they are goofy as all. Because it's Deadshot, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, and King Shark. And I think all of Metropolis is blowing up around them, and they're kicking back, eating pizza, drinking beers, and fudging with Waller and Flag that they're actually doing something. Boomerang downing a beer, saying, "I'm pinned down. Wait a minute." Okay, I'm out of there, and then Superman shows up and threatens to blast them all with his heat vision. So that's going to be fun. And that's the video game you play, and then. Let's compare and contrast. Okay, we got the Batman with Bat Sparkle. Okay,
Bat Sparkle.
Batmeh. I'm going to call him. I was going to call him Batmensch, but no, he's not even Batmensch because that would be conceding that he's somehow a man. Batmeh, because this looks. I had hopes for this because this is supposed to be the detective movie. This is supposed to be the breakout where you don't have the big explosions, you don't have the bat tank, you don't have the bat cave and all this other stuff. He actually has to think his way through situations. You're not going to have this huge ton of guest stars and all this other stuff, and look at the shiny lights, and doesn't it sparkle and stuff? No, it's a remake of Hush. And I'm going to go ahead and spare you so you don't have to see the Batman. So this is the spoiler in 3, 2, 1. Hush is the Riddler. Okay? End of... By the way, if you don't want to hear spoilers, just go ahead about 10 seconds back there where I first said, and then you can join back on. Okay? Because then if you skip the spoilers, you won't hear me say that Hush is the Riddler. And spoil the entire The Batman for you, so now you don't have to go see it. Oh, spoiler alert, by the way. Actually, no, I'm not, because compared to the crap that The Batman is, okay, first off, we're race lifting characters again. Stop that crap, people, please. Now, second, we were talking about how much better the video game trailers were compared to the movie trailers. The video game trailer for The Batman, not The Batman, but The Batman video game coming out in 2021 is going to be called Gotham Knights. Batman is dead. Commissioner Gordon is dead. Alfred is dead. The Batcave is dead. Gotham is dead. And all that's left are a whole bunch of Robins and Batgirl. Basically. So all the Robins and Batgirl have to get together and try to save Gotham City from the Court of Owls, which is the most insanely awesome idea I've heard for a video game since the Suicide Squad killed the Justice League thing about 2 minutes before I saw that one. So, yes, the DC video game trailers kicked the DC movie video game trailers' ass. So, there you go. And by the way, Hush is still the Riddler. So, spoilers. Go back about 5 seconds and unlisten to that. Go ahead.
So anyways, since
yeah.
we're going to do Batman, yes, Matt Reeves came on there
Batman.
and talked about his version of the whole thing. All the bad guys that's in it is before they become the Penguin, the Catwoman, and all that stuff. So this is all pre-hand. He's getting his experience from Chinatown and all that stuff.
So tell me the truth, Chris. Is this one of those movies where a director just has to lift his leg and whiz all over the franchise to make it his very own?
Isn't that what everybody does in Hollywood?
We have to start over from the beginning before they were villains and show how they became that way. They did that for how many years with Gotham on Fox?
I mean, personally, somebody who loves Batman, because Batman is like my favorite of all time, I do wish that they would just stop making different versions of Batman. Like, for real. Like, just stop it. Stick with one guy playing Batman. Stick with one. Make sure that it's not a reboot, which is something that he did say that I was really happy about. Okay? This takes place in his younger years as Batman, but he is not retelling his origin story. So that means we're not going to get
No Pearl Drop?
no Pearl Drop, no murdered parents. I'm like, wait, what? And they do, I mean, seriously, they do that in every freaking Batman movie. We know his parents died.
It's Superman syndrome is what it is. You know how he got his start, then just go on with it. Don't bother rehashing that. Or do that during the opening credits if you absolutely must. But everybody knows Superman came from Krypton, lost his parents, yada yada. Everybody knows Batman, lost his parents, yada yada. Everybody knows Spider-Man, lost his parents, yada yada. Everybody knows this crap. Do it. If you gotta absolutely have to do it in the opening credits, get it over with, and move on with your story. Nobody needs another frickin' origin story. Captain America needed the origin story because nobody knows, the film-going public doesn't know Captain America's origin. Batman does not need that.
No.
Okay. Now,
And thank you for not doing that again.
Thank you for not doing that.
I will
so
say
that's
that.
1 point for you. And
Matt Reeves also said that it will focus on his mental issues about, like, depression, anger. He has a lot of anger in him. And that he's also working with Gotham PD.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's actually a change. That's actually a change from the way he's been treated. He's always been the outsider and all this other crap. Gotham City Police Department is so utterly corrupt and incompetent, then why in hell would Jim Gordon not deputize the Batman? Because he's the only honest character in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
Those are the only two entirely honest characters in the entire franchise, and Batman lies about who he is, so that means Jim Gordon's the only honest one in the entire franchise. Never thought about that, huh?
Yeah, so it might be good. Who knows? You never know. It might be the next big thing. I'm still going to watch because it's Batman.
Now, if it turns out Catwoman is Hush, on the other hand, then I'd be impressed. But anyway.
They won't do that.
What else you got?
So, anyway, also with the panel, one of the panels was the whole cast of Shazam. Of course, they joked around about not having anything. But they did drop the title for the movie called Shazam! Fury of the Gods.
That ought to be fun.
I can't wait. I like that. That was awesome.
And then there's the Black Adam trailer. Are you ready to talk about that yet? Is that in order? Is that not in order?
It's not in order. We haven't been going in order, but because of you. But we can talk about.
Let's talk about Black Adam, because that was another one of those. And this is something else I noticed about DC FANDOME. They were not ready for this. They were not. Now, the video game guys were ready. They had their trailers up. They were completed. They looked good. They had it ready. The Batman is pretty much wrap production. They're putting the finishing touches on, so they were actually able to put a trailer out. Actually, I don't think they finished their trailer either, did they? Did anybody have a finished trailer? The Suicide Squad, I think, had a finished trailer, right? Did anything?
The game did.
The games did. No, actually, the Suicide Squad.
Wonder Woman had an official trailer.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. Everybody else just kibitzed. They were sitting there showing. It was a trailer showing them filming the movie. Oh my goodness! Why are you bothering with this DC FANDOME?
Well, because I got to admit it was very interesting because let me talk about some of the things that we did get to see, I got to see. If you watch the entire thing from beginning to end, like myself, which is all I did Saturday, was watch the entire thing. Sorry, but there was some interesting stuff. They talked to a lot of people that has worked on comic books and stuff like that. There was a thing. It lasted like an hour and a half, or a half an hour. I mean. Of Jim Lee taking people that is really good with their art and illustrating and giving them advice. So he was literally teaching them how to shade in certain colors and stuff like that. So he picked like 3 artwork from this one guy, had it up there, and he was like showing what he can improve on and stuff like that, which was actually really awesome. Yeah,
that's the difference between critiques and criticizing. Because criticizing is negative. You point out what you did wrong, you did this, your perspective's off, all this other crap. Critiquing is, hey, you did this right, but you could do this better, and here's how you do it. Just take this idea and giving advice and stuff. Of course, I'm still not a fan of Jim Lee's art style, but hey, it works for him. Obviously, there are people who do like it. But it's good to see him trying to help new people into the industry, and even some people who are in the industry who could just use a little extra nudge in the right direction. So.
Yeah. But it was really interesting just to see all this stuff. But anyway, we'll get on with Black Adam. By the way, if you want to see the trailer, this is what it's supposed to look like for Black Adam. You can look at it on YouTube, but there is a second half to that. that apparently I can't find because I couldn't release it. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, Warner Brothers was doing their own takedown, so for copyright violation. They were nailing themselves on copyright violations again. And somebody did that about a month ago, and I can't remember who it was. I thought it was Disney, or it may have been Warner doing it again. Actually, I think it was Warner doing it again, because AT&T was the one.
Yeah,
They were pushing HBO Max, and one of them got dinged for.
And it turns out it wasn't like, because I mean, as soon as they release the trailers to anything, it is public domain. So it literally goes straight. That's how I released it all on Movie Geek on Facebook. So you can go and check it all on there.
Yeah, he's got all those.
But it was directly on YouTube. But everything kept crashing because of the damn music that they use in the trailers.
Yeah, the music guys are the worst at it. So apparently they actually Warner Brothers actually kept their lawyers at bay, but Warner Music Group, which handles their music clearances and stuff, apparently forgot to give their lawyers the day off, and so the takedown notices began.
Speaking of lawyers, I did not write this down.
Go ahead.
I did not write this down, but Warner Brothers is actually under investigation.
Yeah.
One, they're investigating the Ray Fisher, who plays Cyborg, where he complained about all the stuff that happened with Josh Whedon and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But also, where Warner Brothers decided to slash out how many people out of their jobs? Apparently,
a third of all executives at DC Comics, 20% of all the DC staff, and a third of DC Universe staff.
So basically, California has this law to where, like during this pandemic, you have a few months to give them before you kick them out the door. Well, they didn't do that. So now they're actually under investigation of the entire thing.
Yep, that's AT&T in a nutshell right there.
Just figured I'd throw that out there as a little news thing. So, but anyway, yes, The Rock, who plays Black Adam, came on and talked about what to expect, and of course, being The Rock, he has to hype up the audience and basically, literally talk crap about the whole Justice League and how he can pretty much whoop all their butts, just like The Rock does.
Yeah, he does. He cut a Rock promo. That's what The Rock does. The Rock cuts The Rock's promos.
So.
And don't sing along with The Rock. Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, it was pretty interesting. What do you think about the whole artwork stuff?
Again, we're to the point where we're stumbling with the productions. We want to show something because we've got this big, huge thing we had planned back before Corona started, and it probably didn't pick up on that. But anyway, so we had this planned for at least a year ago, I believe they were talking about it. And when the the Chinese flu showed up, the Chinese flu showed up and blew everybody's schedules all to heck. Well, they couldn't just drop this. They could have, but they didn't want to just drop it because they had things actually ready to show. So I don't know if it was Alex Ross did the artwork for the Black Adam. They were showing some of the scenes and stuff, like storyboarding is what it looked like. There's either Alex Ross or one of the other comic book painters that are running around right now. There's a few of them now because of Alex Ross. It looked Bush League. It really did look Bush League. I mean, this is something I want to be excited about because this isn't just the premiere of Black Adam. This is the premiere of the actual Justice Society. You guys know I'm Marks for the Justice Society. So this is where we're actually going to get to see Jay Garrick and Green Lantern and all these other guys are going to be in this movie because this is when Black Adam shows up. I think back in the 40s or 50s during. I'm not sure exactly what the schedule is. I know 5,000 years ago he he gets a good guy's powers. He turns bad. The wizard throws him in jail, and he breaks out 5,000 years later. Whether it's 1940 or 2020, I don't know. But he's going to be out running around, and it's... The reason I say it's Bush League is because Alex Ross is a great painter, and whoever the painter was here did a good job. Really did a good job on the storyboards and stuff. But The Rock, he's sitting here, he's talking smack about how awesome he is, and he sounds like a second grader reciting it off a cue card, off a little index card to make sure that all the sheep in the second grade talent show come out in the right order. So it just sounds like he's reading it. He's not being The Rock. He's not being Black Adam. He's just mouthing it.
Yeah.
So I was unfortunately not impressed with the Black Adam trailer. I wished it was. I wanted to be, but no.
I was actually impressed, but even though I was impressed, also The Rock sat there and mentioned that you will get to see everybody from JSA is going to be in the movie, Hawkman, all them. Also, he talked with, I forgot what the actor's name is, but he plays Atom Smasher.
Mm-hmm.
So, you're going to see a lot in that. Now, I am kind of confused on one thing. I thought that there was going to be a solo Black Adam movie, and the sequel to Shazam was going to have him battle Black Adam. So I don't know if they're going to do both, or all that is going to be fit into the second Shazam movie. Which honestly I would just do both. So I don't know. I'm not ready for sure.
I'm guessing they're going to cross over in the second Shazam movie, but because they actually, Black Adam and Shazam, okay, they both say, wait a minute, they both have the powers of Shazam, but Black Adam's, the word Shazam is made up of 6 different gods that they get the powers from. Black Adam gets his 6 from 6 Egyptian gods, and modern day Shazam gets his from the 6 Greco-Roman gods, I guess. And so, the Greek gods. So, they change, so that's maybe where you're getting the Battle of the Gods and Shazam too. But, this is one of those snake bit properties, Black Adam. Black Adam and New Mutants have both been snake bit for years and years, and they're just now, it's like being severely constipated. You finally managed to squeeze this thing out. It's almost there, but boy, it hurts like the dickens to get it out. Not that I would know, but
So it'd be something.
I'm willing to give Black Adam a try, but this trailer, it's not because of this trailer. Anyway, what else you got?
Well, there was a panel with Jim Lee, Mark Bernard, and the creators of Milestone Comics that sat there and talked about how they have some fresh ideas, new heroes, and some great news about how we even mentioned this last time, about how Static Shock will become a movie now, / TV show / new comic books, all coming out in February. There's a bunch of stuff coming out in February from Milestone.
Black History.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because in order to let blacks have a history month, the white guys gave them the shortest month. But anyway, that's all a joke. Anyway, I have been calling. How long have we been doing this show? About a year.
Yeah.
Year and a half.
Yeah.
And who's been calling for a return of Milestone? About a year and a half. Actually, for about since about 1996 when they first disappeared. But anyway, so I actually still have old episodes of Icon or old issues of Icon and Hardware and Blood Syndicate around here somewhere. Oddly enough, I don't think I have Static anymore. I think Beth took off that one.
By the way, those are going to be some new stories coming out in February. Is Icon and Rocket.
Finally.
So
Icon and Rocket, for those of you who haven't heard me rant and rave about Milestone or Icon before, Icon is like a conservative black corporate guy, and Rocket is an unwed teenage black mother. So it's almost like two stereotypes colliding and trying to determine, well, just how black are we? Or actually, they're both asking each other, how black are you? And it's just, it's one of those things that actually does a little better in the execution than it sounds in the summary, if that made any sense. But this is one of those ideas that should be explored. And yes, our sun is back out, so you'll see you'll see our brightness keeps going up and down because it just rained and stopped. But anyway, ironically, I'm getting whiter the longer we talk about this, but it's nice to see them giving Milestone another chance. They were supposed, as I understand it, this was originally supposed to happen like in 2017, 2018, but things kind of fell apart because I think it was the estate of Dwayne McDuffie, his widow, didn't like the terms that they were coming to with DC. So everything got put on the back burner because Dwayne McDuffie was the driving force behind a lot of Milestone.
And they actually talked about all that.
Yeah, so so I guess they finally got the old widow McDuffie taken care of to the point that they can actually reschedule this. They're putting this back on the itinerary for February, and that's good because they have plenty of time to get it done right.
Yes, with the help of, I mean, they don't need help because they do such a good job on their own, but they got a lot of people backing them up. Like I said, Jim Lee's there. That is really, really cannot wait for people's reaction to a lot of this. He said Mark Bernard, who is a fantastic writer, is going to be working on this projects and stuff. So it's
here's the other thing too. That Milestone did not preach. Okay, now I take that back. Every once in a while they get a little preachy, but they mainly just sat there and laid it out like it is, and you either accept it or you don't. Which is pretty much the way normal people do it. You either accept it or you don't. If you don't accept it, move on out of the way. Let me do what needs to be done. And so there wasn't a whole lot of preachiness there. There was one, I take it back, two storylines. They had one that had to do with, of all things, a Disneyland clone that was being built in Dakota for Milestone. That was the Long Hot Summer crossover. And then they had another one where the characters met Superman and his cast. That was when Worlds Collide. They get a little preachy in those two. But that was one of those things where it's just like, here's the point, and then once they make the point, they move on, at least. So they didn't, not every episode was harping about how unjust the world was around them. It was just, this is how we have to handle it, this is how we do things, move on, which was a very mature way to treat the franchises and the concepts in the comic books. Go ahead.
Now, somebody who tries to keep up with movies and everything, there's something that they did say that kind of shocked me because I didn't hear nothing about this, and they did not say who's going to be in it, but the Static Shock movie is actually in production.
They apparently sneak that right on by.
Yeah, I know, and I'm like, wait, what? So, I mean, that's all they said, and I'm just like, wow, okay. Like, that did sneak right by me because I didn't see that coming, and I can't find it nowhere, and they're not talking about nothing, so I guess it's hush-hush. So, but, yeah.
That'd be fun.
That'd be cool. So that's all in February. Alright, so I got one more story.
Let's wrap it. What you got?
So, one of the big things about why DC Fandom was such a big thing, that it literally broke the internet because everybody was so excited to see Snyder cut of Justice League. So, I sat there and I listened to him with a big ego just rambling on about how, oh, I couldn't have done this without the fans. I couldn't have done this without this. But this is my version. This is my whole thing. And then, of course, Ray Fisher, who plays Cyborg, who's been bitching about everything so far, gets on there and says, "You're my favorite director," and all that crap. Gets on there, and we finally get to see the trailer. What the hell? I know there's a lot of people out there that was like, "Oh my goodness, you've already seen it." For months now, every freaking week, Snyder has been releasing images, pictures, and everything under the sun to where, okay, are you going to leave anything for your Snyder cut? Like, you got what you want. Stop leaking everything. Everything that he leaked was in the trailer. Plus, the original Justice League trailer that came out years ago, before the movie was switched around and everything, was in this trailer. So you got nothing new. I don't know why everybody's so excited. You didn't get nothing. And what makes it worse is that when it comes on HBO Max, it's going to be split up in 4 parts.
They quibbied it.
So you're going to get an hour, basically 4 hours long, of this cut.
Yeah. There's an age-old saying that became a cheesy country song, and it says, "Some of God's greatest gifts are unanswered prayers." And a corollary on that, be careful what you ask for, you might just get it. The Snyder Cut is finally going to come out on HBO Max, not like anybody with a Roku or an Amazon Fire Stick is going to be able to see it. Or Kara, really. Okay, Chris, I'm just going to ask.
Yeah.
All right. How much is Warner Brothers spending on the Snyder Cut of the Justice League?
They sent him $30 million.
$30 million and counting, by the way.
And he was
because
asking for more.
He asked for more. And he probably got
asked for 80.
He probably got, I'd say he probably got closer to 80 than he got to the 30. But,
Oh, my goodness.
now, after the Snyder Cut got funded, what did AT&T and Warner Brothers do to DC Comics? Cut a third of its editorial, 20% of its staff, and cut a third of DC Universe.
To save money.
To save money. Did they save $80 million? Did they save $30 million? Probably not. But by golly, it covered a good chunk of it. So, congratulations, Snyder Cut fans. You now have blood on your hands. Way to go, guys.
I mean, and you know what really gets me is that everybody was waiting for this, and when it finally dropped, they were happy, but when the DC fandom was over with, nobody's talking about that. They're talking about the new Batman movie. They're talking about the Suicide Squad, the games. Like, they're talking about all this other stuff, but nobody's talking crap about Snyder Cut. Like, it's not even mentioned anywhere. And trust me, when I woke up, there was thousands of videos on YouTube talking about all this other stuff, but not one mention about the Snyder Cut. And I'm wondering, like, that's actually kind of funny, I think, because it's like, see, nobody gives a crap.
It's part of the reason the divorce rate is so high these days. The wanting is so much better than the having.
I think it was one of those moments where it's like for me, when I watched it, I was like, you've already shown me all this. There's nothing new here. And that's what all the other people were pretty much who was rooting for this was like, yay. Like, I was expecting more, but okay, yay.
Yay, we got what we wanted.
Like, seriously. He could have saved so much for this big event. Like the first appearance of Darkseid. You know? But no, he didn't. He released that entire thing.
No, you can't do that because your ego's in the way now. Ego must be fed. Ego gets fed a weekly diet. You dribble a little of this here and a little of this there, and your ego gets fed, and you're just fat and sassy now. So by the time it's time for the money shot, it's too late. You've been fluffed too much, got nothing left. So,
and I've said this 1,000 times. I was like,
that was actually quite disgusting. But anyway,
it
go
was.
ahead.
But it's the truth, though, because I said this 1,000 times. I even made comments on every time I saw Screen Rant or Collider or somebody release something saying, "Oh, Zack Snyder released another image of this and that." I would put in a comment going like, "Save it! Why are you showing us this? You got what you wanted. Stop showing." And I was right. Everything in the trailer was exactly what we've already seen because you released it. Why did you do that? You're stupid.
Okay, this feeling that you got right. We're going to take a quick aside here before we wrap this.
Yeah.
Just a quick thing. This feeling that you're feeling right now. You know, I was telling you guys to lay off, save this stuff, wait until later, do the money shot and everything. And now you've been totally vindicated. You were correct, 100% on that. It don't matter for squat till you do it. I mean, you were absolutely right, but it doesn't mean anything because what do you derive from it? This is what I go through all the time when we have these discussions, and I start calling all these things that you're going to see here in the future, and then they come true, they come to pass, and it's like, yeah, I was right. I don't feel any better when I call screw ups and bad things are going to happen, and I call these things from like a year off, and they finally happen, and it's just like, yeah, I derive no pleasure from bad things like that. Now I'm happy to see Milestone back, so I'm glad I made that call. But for stuff like this, it's just a weird feeling because it's kind of like Schadenfreude we were talking about, where you derive pleasure from the misery of others.
Yeah.
Neither one of us are that good at Schadenfreude. Even though we talk about misery all the time, we don't derive a whole lot of pleasure from it.
I mean, it's like when before all of this and everybody was wanting a Snyder cut. I was not really wanting a Snyder cut because, like, I'm not a Snyder fan. I like all of his movies is okay, not the best, not the worst, but in the middle, you know. So I knew what to expect from his version. It was going to be dark colors, going to be all grainy like, more serious than having jokes, and things like that. And it's like, and it's going to be good, and you're like, yes, yes, and then somehow screw it up where you're like, what the hell were you thinking on that? You know? Kind of like Batman versus Superman. Actually, if you pay attention to the story, it's actually a really good story. But then you had to put a really horrible actor as the villain, and then you brought in, what's the big monster that he had to fight? Doomsday.
Oh,
At the end of the movie, which really just took it to a really sucky-ass level. It's like, you had it, and then you lost it.
Now, did we discuss this when Batman v Superman came out?
I
We
don't
weren't doing
remember
this show at
it. I
the
don't
time.
think we-
No, we may have talked about it. We may have talked about it, but first off, as I said earlier, there are other dark colors besides black and gray. Okay, if you're going to listen, if you're going to be doing a dark film, okay, if you're going to be doing black inks and black charcoals and black oils and black acrylics, you're going to use all this black and all these grays and stuff. You better get yourself an 8-count box of Crayola crayons in primary colors so people can tell what the hell's going on. It's why. This is the one thing everybody misses from the Tim Burton Batman. This is the one lesson they forgot. We just saw Batman '89 last week, right?
Yes.
And I know this has nothing to do with the Snyder Cut. He's the one ranting about the Snyder Cut. I couldn't give a rat's crap because the Justice League movie was crap. I expect the Snyder Cut to be crap. That's my view of this. But I'm critiquing movie making procedures now. Quick, what was on Michael Keaton's chest when he was Batman?
The bat symbol?
The bat symbol. What shape was the bat symbol?
It was like an egg shape.
Yeah, it was an
With the
oval
bat.
with the bat in the middle, right? Okay, now, Ben Affleck, how big was his bat symbol?
It was across the chest, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Without the circle, just a big black bat on the chest.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah, basically a chest piece, yeah. And all these other guys, all these other Batman, who's Christopher Nolan's Batman? Can't think of him.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. Everybody misses the little yellow around the bat symbol, okay? Yeah. Everybody missed it. You need the yellow around the bat symbol so you can tell where Batman is in a dark scene, okay? Especially in the movies, because in the comic books, at least, you can get the little eye slits of Batman because they don't show his eyes in the comic books. In the movies, they show the eyes. Okay, I don't care whether he's got black smeared around his eyes or not. You can't see his eyes that well when everything's dark. So you need that little something to draw attention so you can tell where the hero is in your scene. Damn it.
I was thinking about the new Batman trailer that was released in
Uh-huh.
Matt Reeves thing. And I was like, he had the dark circles around his eyes. And I was like, oh my goodness, they're doing an emo.
He was emo as Bruce Wayne. he looked like a I swear to God, he looked like Chris Angel's little brother or something.
Yeah, the hair hanging down low.
Yes.
Sometimes you'll see like a drop of water coming down, like he just got out of the shower or something. And I was just like, okay. I was like, please don't let this be throughout the whole movie. But, yeah. I mean, I'm not... The thing that gets me is that if you're going to sit there and want your version to be seen, at least make it worthy. Zack Snyder did not make any of his shit worthy. For some reason, there's a fan base that it was worthy to them. But it's like, can you literally... I mean... I like to see a hardcore fan literally sit there and tell me what was so different between the trailer and why his version is so great.
Chris, you're a creative type. I want all the other creators out there to keep this in mind, okay? We've seen this happen repeatedly, not just in Hollywood, but in society, especially when it comes to politics. We see it happen in Hollywood with these big tentpole projects. We see it over and over and over again. You get lost in the echo chamber, okay? It's not that you're surrounded by yes men. It's that you are hearing the same voices over and over and over. And the more you hear them, the louder they sound. And so you get in that echo chamber. You just hear it over and over and over. And so when the Justice League movie came out, it was a whisper, Snyder Cut, Snyder Cut, Snyder Cut, Snyder Cut. And then as it echoed over and over, it got louder and louder, Snyder Cut, Snyder Cut, Snyder Cut, Snyder Cut. No more people joining on, okay? You had a few people join on at the beginning, but they didn't really grow. It was the same ones, and they just got louder and louder because they were echoing. They were adding more to the echo. Each time it bounced back, Snyder Cut, Snyder Cut, Snyder Cut. So now, in order to get people interested in HBO Max, Warner Brothers like, all right, we'll give you the Snyder Cut of Justice League. And they all like, yes, Snyder Cut. And now they don't want to say anything because they got what they wanted. So why would they keep perpetuating the echo? Now,
you know what? Go ahead.
Same thing happens to Batman because you've got vocal Bat fans. And, oh my goodness, if I could have Batman without the Bat fans, I would be a happy little camper. But you have the Bat fans right now who think he has to be grim and gritty.
Yes.
Everything has to be dark. Everything has to be Tim Burton up to the nth degree. You have to do it this way because that's who Batman is. The only other Batman there is is frickin' Adam West. Okay, so it's either camp or it's grim and gritty. There's nothing in between. Unless it's Batman Beyond. That's pretty cool. Because that's kind of like a futuristic take on it. But that's not canon, okay? So it's either got to be grim and gritty or it's got to be Adam West or maybe Batman Beyond. Unless you happen to like Batman the Animated Series. Well, okay, so it has to be this or that. It has this or that. It has to be Batman Beyond or Batman the Animated Series or grim and gritty, or it has to be Adam West. Unless you like the Frank Miller stuff. And then, well, that's just grimdark stuff. But still, it's different from the grim and gritty. So it has to be grim and gritty, or it has to be Adam West, or it has to be Batman Beyond, or it has to be Batman the Animated Series, or it has to be grimdark, or, wait, I actually like the Brave and the Bold. So I like the more cartoony style, so that's where Harley Quinn came from and all this other stuff. Yeah.
Are you okay?
The echo chamber, man. This is what it does to you, man.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, and to be honest, the bottom line is, I am more of a DC fan than what I ever was Marvel. I still am a hardcore DC fan. Love DC stuff. I love Batman. And the thing is that I am getting tired of the dark, gritty Batman. I want there to be more light. And they keep giving Zack Snyder jobs to do more DC movies. And I don't want everything I love to be a depressing movie every time I see it. I love Batman to death. And I know everybody thinks that he has to be the gritty side, the dark and lonely and miserable dude, but you can do so much more. Like, why can't Bruce Wayne be like a drunken mess like Tony Stark and still be Batman as well?
Because Batman would be too smart to become a sloppy drunk. Tony Stark is an idiot.
But I mean, I want to see more life in the character. And I got that with the Tim Burton movies. I did get that with the animated series. I definitely got that perfectly with the Christopher Nolan Batman trilogy. But
go in a different direction.
I want more than just dark tones to where, like you said, you're fighting in a dark scene where you can't tell who's who, and everything has to be cloudy outside, no sunshine. It always has to rain, even though I love rain. It's always raining. It's always foggy. There's dark characters lurking in the dark everywhere you turn. That's fine and good, but also shed some light on the detail. That's why Shazam, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, I can watch these movies 1,000 times. I cannot say that going back and watching Batman vs. Superman. I can't say that to Man of Steel. Because even though you got good stories with good characters, you're still going down that dark and gritty with some things that honestly doesn't make any sense. Like Man of Steel, I hated the part where he goes to his spaceship that crashed and spent most of his time in the spaceship. I didn't like that. I didn't like that to be his, place of solitude. I didn't like that whole thing at all. And I thought who they got to play, well, let's just say it. Lois Lane is
a jerk.
Just a mess anyways.
Yeah.
But getting an actress to play that character who is all right in other things, but not Lois Lane.
But always,
it's just like Jesse Eisenberg playing Lex Luthor. What the hell were you thinking? Like, what? Seriously?
This is the big problem Hollywood has with comic book properties. They've always had this problem. Will always have this problem. They have to Hollywood it up because they are so much smarter than comic book creators. Oh my God, I make millions of dollars as a director. I know much better than this schlub who's been writing Superman comics for 20 years. Here, this is what I never understood about Superman, okay? Especially the Superman movies. You Hollywood guys, if you were to actually study your source material, would fall in love with Superman. The big knock on Superman in Hollywood, nobody knows what to do with him because he's so powerful. BS. You're not doing your homework.
No.
Go back, and I mean way back to 1938-39 when Superman first started. The Siegel and Schuster, Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster, when they were doing Super Action Comics themselves, the creators of Superman. Superman was a big-time lefty. He was a big liberal. He hated big business. He hated criminals. He hated crooks. It didn't matter whether they were muggers or if they were in boardroom executives. He hated them, and he fought against them. So he was as likely to slug a CEO as he was to slug a guy trying to rob somebody in the middle of the night. Okay? That's what Superman did. That's Superman's base. In the 50s, he grew more conservative because everybody needed a hero from World War II, and that was Superman.
Yeah.
So he grew more conservative. Truth, justice, and the American way. The American way has always been a little more left than what conservatives like to think. This is turning political. I'm going to steer it back here before we wrap this. We do need to wrap this because we're already an hour and a half into this. But the problem is Hollywood does not do its research. They don't do their follow-through. They don't look at the source material enough to do a good adaptation. Superman has been the poster child of lousy adaptations since for decades now, but we'll just say that. But I hear you feel your pain and stuff. But
I mean, they could have done it so much smarter and added humor. Like, I mean, I felt that they missed a big part in the Batman versus Superman, which if they would have went by the cartoon version where they first met, which was basically Superman finding out that Bruce Wayne is Batman, and then Batman spied on Bruce Wayne, and he was looking out the window and saw Batman far off on the building, looking directly at him, going like, and then Lois Lane having a date with Bruce Wayne.
see, that
like
that would be a fun Batman versus Superman.
Exactly. It would have been hilarious, but they missed the opportunity. Instead, they went dark and had to have this horrible Lex Luthor kind of go like, "Oh yeah, gods or sucks."
And that is apparently the only Superman villain that can be used in Hollywood is Lex Luthor.
Somebody who has no powers, who has no reason at all to get revenge.
Because again, Superman has all these powers, and Lex Luthor is just far more intelligent. Thing is, Lex Luthor is not more intelligent than Superman.
No,
Lex Luthor actually has more access. He's better at designing technology than Superman is. Superman has better technology because he got it all from Krypton. Lex Luthor is better at building guns and laser death rays and stuff like that than Superman is, but Superman has the Phantom Zone. So we've talked about this before. Let's wrap it with this, okay? Here's Spike's treatment for a Superman movie. Who was the villain going to be? Do you remember the last time we talked about this? Who was my villain going to be?
Oh, Superman?
Yeah. Who would Superman's villain? If we're making a movie, I'm writing, you're directing. I'll give you the script. Who did I have in my script to be the villain against Superman?
Oh, I can't remember who you had.
Brainiac.
Brainiac, okay, yeah.
Brainiac. Okay, so Brainiac's a robot, right? He's a robot. They've actually changed it a little bit over the years, and I like the change, so I'm going to keep that.
Especially
where Brainiac comes from Krypton. He was basically the hive mind for Krypton. He was like the central internet server for Krypton, right? So actually Brainiac is involved in blowing Krypton up so that there wouldn't be any Kryptonian survivors, and one got away, and that grew up to be Superman. So Superman finds out all this stuff about Brainiac. Brainiac shows up. He's in this big robot ship. He's got this big robot body. He looks evil as all get out. Everything, it looks like Alien and Predator had a love child, and just nasty looking. And so Superman shows up and starts beating him up. He beats up the giant robot ship. He beats up the giant robot. what Superman forgot is that Brainiac used to be the central server for Krypton's internet, which is what I just said. So guess who downloads himself into the internet on Earth? Now, how do you fight an online social media presence? Superman, come on, come on, Superman, punch Facebook. How are you going to stop him, Superman? Come on, how are you going to can you punch Twitter in the dick? I don't think so. Okay? How are you going to stop this guy? Now, oh, wait, here's QAnon. There's QAnon over there, presented by Brainiac. How are you going to stop him, Superman? Superman's got to actually outwit somebody. That negates all the powers. And that also negates the #1 complaint Hollywood writers have about Superman, but they don't want to think that hard about Superman. They want to draw giant spiders. I figured that would draw a laugh out of you. They want the giant robotic spiders.
Giant spider.
It's a Kevin Smith reference. He also got a legal bombshell, didn't he? Did he get kicked off the internet for a second for daring to talk about the DC FANDOME something or other?
Yeah.
They kicked him off too for copyright. But anyway. So anyway, you've got all this. There's that idea. You can do it right, but you've got to spend more than 10 minutes and a session with a cocaine dealer in order to actually do it. Okay?
Yeah.
So you actually got to put some thought into it. And I have no idea where I was going with that to begin with, but oh well. That still sounds better than the Batman. So, you got any final thoughts before we wrap this? Because I really need to get some sleep, because the caffeine's wearing off. I'm crashing hard, dude.
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah, I'm
okay.
good.
So, till next time, Spike.
Chris.
And Hush is still the Riddler. Spoilers. And we'll see you next time. Maybe on the Spike and Chris show. Take care, y'all.
See ya.
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.
Sweetheart.